Welcome into Sports Talk at the stadium from Clemson's Death Valley on this Saturday night, where the Clemson Tigers improved their record to 11-0 and wrapped up a perfect 8-0 ACC slate and a perfect record at home this season with a 33-13 win over Wake Forest. Our Sports Talk at the stadium is presented by the South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. Well, if the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World is considered the happiest place on earth, Death Valley is not far behind. This is one happy group of football players, coaches, and fans as the Tigers continue to do what they have done all season long: play together as a team, play hard, play to the final whistle, get big plays from the offense and the defense. And the result is another victory for the Tigers as they continue down that trek to what they hope will be a national championship. And, of course, with each win, it gets closer and closer for the Tigers. All that's left between them and a perfect regular season, just the fourth in school history, is a win next week at South Carolina. And, of course, the Tigers will be heavily favored to go into Williams-Brice Stadium and beat the Gamecocks. Then, of course, it's on to Charlotte and the ACC championship game against North Carolina. Get past those two, and it's on to the national playoffs for the Tigers. Here today, a quick start, once again scoring on their first possession for the seventh time in 11 games this season. The Tigers went right down the field, and they jumped on the scoreboard to go up 7-0. They built a 20-0 lead, and really, Wake Forest was no competition. In the second half, the Tigers took their foot off the gas. They worked in a lot of young players on offense and defense. They put Kelly Bryant in a good bit at quarterback. They took Deshaun Watson, put him at wide receiver in what they like to call their Wildcat package. And basically, Watson just stood out there and didn't do much. But on one play, he did take off down the sideline as if he wanted to catch a pass. And he told us afterwards that, yes, he's an athlete. He does want to catch a pass when out there, though he's not all that excited about the idea of going across the middle. He doesn't think the Tigers will expose him that way. But you could see in that formation a pass thrown his way, and Kelly Bryant did a really nice job running the football when he was in there. So this was complete domination for Clemson. They did have 4 turnovers. That was the one negative on the day. Watson on 2 consecutive possessions threw interceptions. Bryant had an interception. There was a fumble lost on a punt return. Those were the biggest negatives on what was otherwise a marvelous day here at Death Valley. It was senior day. They did a great job honoring the seniors. Military Appreciation Day. They did a wonderful job with that. That's what I mean by this being one of the happiest places on earth. It is an absolute love fest with this football team right now. It's just that unique feeling that you only get, who knows, every 20 years or so in programs. I'm sure at a place like Alabama, where they're used to winning national championships, maybe at Notre Dame, places like that, they don't really appreciate what the Clemson team is enjoying this season and their fans are enjoying. I mean, the Tigers went through this in 1981. It's a long time ago. This is a whole new era of fans for them enjoying this, and they are loving it, and they are loving their football team. And what's not to love? Great talent on both sides of the ball, well coached, and executing their game plans. Brent Venables was giddy after the game with the performance of his defense. They in the previous 3 games they had a penchant for giving up a lot of big plays. Not today. The longest play they gave up was a 30-yard touchdown pass, and that was in the fourth quarter against backups. Other than that, Wake Forest had a 20-yard play here, a 19-yard play there, but for the most part, they were snuffed out. Wake Forest on the day offensively managed just 152 total yards and only 39 yards on the ground. Clemson, 552 total yards at 7 games in a row in which the Tigers have had 500 or more yards. So the offense just continues to play extremely well, play extremely fast, jump on people early, and then do what they do. Individually, Deshaun Watson, except for the 2 interceptions, which it really didn't result in any major problems for them. A good day for him, 24 of 35, 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, had a couple of nice, long, beautiful throws, one of over 60 yards, one of over 40 yards, one to Peak and one to Hopper. Um, he throws such a beautiful deep ball, and he lets his receiver just run under that thing. And that's what they did. He was on the mark big time today with those long passes. Kelly Bryant led the rushing attack with 58 yards. Watson had 44 and a touchdown. No Wayne Gallman today. They watched him in warm-ups, and he was still a little bit gimpy. They weren't totally satisfied with his health, so they just told him to take the day off. They didn't really need him. They worked in C.J. Fuller a lot. He got 10 carries. Zach Brooks got 7. Tyshawn Dye got 3. So they gave Gallman the day off so he can get ready for South Carolina. And outside of a stinger to Ben Boulware, no major injuries incurred by the Tigers. The defense was suffocating. As I mentioned, they had 13 tackles for loss. They had 5 sacks as well today. And third down conversions, another key number for the Tigers, 9 out of 16, allowing just 6 of 17. So an overall wonderful day here at Death Valley. What a way to close out the home schedule. Now they get ready for South Carolina next week. The Tigers will be heavy favorites. I was just talking to folks here in the press room. I can't remember a USC Clemson game, at least on paper, in the last 15, 20 years that looks as lopsided as this one does, especially with the Gamecocks coming off their performance today against the Citadel. It looks like this one will be easy pickings for the Tigers. But then again, it's a rivalry game, and that's just the sort of setup for the home team that's the big underdog to go in there and make life miserable. But the Tigers have too much talent. They're playing at such a high level. There's no way South Carolina can raise its level of play to match Clemson's. Not right now, unless South Carolina just goes through a complete makeover during the week. Just can't see it happening. So the Tigers will try to wrap up a perfect season in Columbia next week and then move on for them to what will be bigger and better things. We've got post-game coverage at sportstalksc.com. You'll hear from Deshaun Watson and other players, as well as from Dabo Swinney. On Sunday, sportstalksc.com, coverage of Dabo Swinney's Sunday conference call. On Monday, coverage of the interviews up here at Clemson with the players. On Tuesday, Talking Tuesday, coverage of Dabo Swinney from his press conference. And, of course, Monday, Tuesday, all next week, we'll be hearing from you. Thursday, our special Thanksgiving night show with a preview of USC and Clemson. Again, the Tigers win it 33-13 over Wake Forest here at Death Valley. That's our coverage for tonight. Sports Talk at the stadium from Clemson's Death Valley here at sportstalksc.com. Thanks for being with us. Have a great weekend.